Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've got the complete dossier in front of us for America's Got Talent Season 20. All the milestones, the mechanics, and definitely the manufactured moments.
Definitely those.
And our mission today is, well, it's pretty simple. We're not just going to summarize the season. We're going to perform something of an autopsy on modern reality entertainment.
I like that, an autopsy.
Yeah, we want to really understand how a show like AGT, how it evolves to stay so dominant in this whole ecosystem that's just, obsessed with viral clips and professional polish.
That's the critical lens, absolutely, because we are looking at a deeply, deeply strategic season here. Season 20, it was billed as this huge milestone anniversary. A talent tornado, I think was the term.
Talent tornado, yeah.
And it was defined by a few key things. You had the high-stakes variety, you had an unprecedented number of golden buzzers, and then you had this central, just unavoidable controversy about what talent discovery even means anymore.
Right. So we're essentially going to reverse engineer the whole thing.
Right.
The final outcome, the winner, all of it, to give you the framework for how to view these kinds of televised spectacles critically.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's start in the engine room, the people making the calls. The panel of judges was so key to setting the tone this year. We had the familiar forces, Simon Cowell, of course, Sofia Vergara, and Howie Mandel, who was, believe it or not, celebrating his 16th season as a judge.
16 seasons, that's incredible.
It is. But the real seismic shift was the return of Mel B, the Spice Girl. She came in and replaced Heidi Klum.
And Mel B's return, that was a statement. It really was. It signaled a subtle, but I think a very significant shift toward, well, professional standards, a much less forgiving environment.
Compared to Heidi Klum, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you contrast it with Heidi's often more, positive, supportive commentary. But, as crucial as that panel dynamic was, the real story, and your sources really show this, it lies in the final 10. The core conflict of season 20 was the almost total dominance of singers and rappers in the final, which is just such a sharp contrast to the danger acts and the dance acts that traditionally define the show's variety.
And that convergence of vocal talent, I mean, it all culminated in a winner with a very, very extensive pre-existing professional career. That's the reason we're doing this deep dive.
It is.
The winner, Jessica Sanchez, her victory just triggered this massive multi-platform uproar about fair play, about the integrity of the whole competition format itself.
So we're going to use all of it. All the backstage notes you provided, the judge analysis, the social media data. We're going to shortcut you right past the noise and get to the fundamental truth of how entertainment is, well, how it's engineered in 2025.
Let's do it. Let's unpack the new reality TV blueprint that made this season so compelling and so controversial.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's really unpack this. Season 20 was not designed to just entertain a live studio audience. I mean, that's almost secondary now. It was designed for maximum internet penetration.
That's it. These strategic priorities were just starkly different from earlier seasons.
In what way?
Well, the show aimed, first and foremost, for something they called viral readiness. And these two mandates, they define every kind of act that the production team prioritized.
Right.
Success wasn't judged by, how many tickets an act could sell in 1999. It was judged by how many shares and clips they could generate instantly, the moment they walk off stage.
And what does viral readiness even look like on a production level? I mean, it sounds so clinical.
It is clinical. It's very clinical. Your sources confirm that producers were explicitly looking for acts that provided, and this is a quote, short, punchy beats that clip well for socials.
Roll.
So think about it, right? A 90-second intricate acrobatic routine is much harder to clip and share than a single sustained high C note followed by a dramatic pause and a judge's shocked face.
Of course. It's a single moment.
A single moment. The acts needed instant visual payoff or a sudden, emotionally overwhelming beat that could just stand alone, completely outside the context of the 2-hour broadcast.
That makes so much sense. So the live show, it really just becomes the source material for thousands and thousands of tiny, targeted marketing assets.
That's the model.
And the judges then, they're clearly tasked with reinforcing this.
Oh, 100%. The feedback shifted dramatically this season. The judges weren't just asking, are you good? They were asking about adaptability.
Adaptability, meaning?
Meaning, could you successfully headline a corporate gala in Dubai? Could you deliver a captivating halftime show for a major league sport? These acts are being vetted not just for a Vegas show anymore, but as, global entertainment commodities.
The brand.
The distinct identity, the brand, the ability to transition instantly into the professional circuit, that was the new professional benchmark.
And that strategic shift, that directly led to a major spike in global diversity this season, didn't it?
It absolutely did. Your sources highlighted that this season set a new benchmark. It featured more international acts than in any previous Week 2 audition episode.
And that's not an accident.
Not at all. This is about leveraging the Got Talent franchise as a truly global platform. They are deliberately courting acts from markets like Latin America, Southeast Asia, because they recognize that those fan bases provide massive, loyal social media engagement.
Which is the oxygen of viral content.
It's the oxygen. It's a clear move to secure global revenue streams through international event bookings and, digital consumption.
So let's focus on the individuals who are driving this market focus. Let's start with Simon Cowell. The veteran producer, he's always looked for commercial viability. But what was his specific mandate this year?
Well, Cowell was the sharp-eyed producer. He was focused on finding the next global superstar. He wasn't just looking for a good act. He was looking for a pre-packaged entity ready for immediate commercial success. His feedback, if you listen closely, it often involved deconstructing the performance into its commercial parts. The song choice, the styling, the stage presence, and then steering the act toward mass appeal. He is the long-term visionary in that group.
Okay, so now contrast that with Howie Mandel, the wild card. He seems to exist purely in the present moment, just reacting to whatever's trending on the internet that day.
That's a perfect way to put it. Mandel is obsessed with viral moment culture. He is way less concerned with the multi-year recording contract and much more concerned with generating talk at the water cooler the next morning.
Right.
He consistently pressed acts to own TikTok. He often focused on novelty, on shock value, or just high-energy absurdity.
Right.
He wants the immediate shareable hit. His perspective is really the ultimate reflection of the modern attention deficit audience.
And then you have the critical friction, the chaos, generated by Mel B's return. Her presence just fundamentally changed the critical tone of that panel.
It injected a necessary professionalism, I think. As a Spice Girl, Mel B understands global branding. She understands choreography and technical execution at the absolute highest level.
She's lived it.
She's lived it. So her focus was fiercely on professional standards, which is exactly why she created so much friction. We saw this so intensely with her critique of Sandy Larson.
Right. Sandy Larson, the 70-year-old dancer. That moment became a real flashpoint.
It really did. Larson's act was, it was deliberately framed as this heartwarming, late-life rediscovery of passion. And she was technically proficient for her age, and the audience was instantly on her side. They loved her.
But Mel B
refused to play the emotional card. She just wouldn't do it. She criticized the choreography. She stated bluntly that it did not meet her professional standards, and she hit the no button.
And the audience reaction was
immediate.
Yeah.
And powerful. Just a wave of boos from the audience.
But isn't that, counterproductive to the AGT brand? A brand which traditionally prioritizes that emotional underdog story, especially in the auditions. Are the producers sacrificing feels for professional standard this year?
Well, that's the strategic trade-off. See, the production needs both. Mel B provides the critical voice that legitimizes the competition. It ensures it doesn't just devolve into a pure sympathy vote.
That's a good point.
By challenging an act that the audience loves, she generates discussion, which is a form of viral content in itself. It validates the high stakes for the other acts who do get her approval. Mel B's whole stance was, this is not amateur night. This is a competition for a Vegas residency.
And this professional distance wasn't just confined to the stage, right? There was also all that tabloid speculation about the dynamic between Mel B and Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, initially reports were circulating about this palpable professional distance between them. The suggestion was they didn't really communicate much off camera.
Which fueled the tabloid machine.
Of course. You have two global icons with very different levels of experience in the U.S. reality circuit. But the sources we have suggest that the shared intensity of the job, it eventually allowed them to develop a working rapport, and that turned the initial speculation into more of a dynamic of respect.
So it fizzled out.
It did. But nonetheless, Mel B's no-nonsense energy was undeniably engineered. It was there to add the chaos and the edge that the panel needed to stay interesting.
That chaos was also amplified by just the sheer volume of early validation this season. Season 20 was saturated with golden buzzers, 14 recipients in total. That's a huge shift, making the stakes incredibly high right out of the gate.
It signifies that the production team is accelerating the filtering process. They're not waiting. By handing out 14 golden buzzers, they are creating 14 guaranteed narrative arcs very early on.
Hmm.
They're ensuring the acts that advance are already pre-approved by a producer or a judge as being market-ready. It's less about discovery and much more about selecting pre-vetted, high-potential commodities.
Let's look at two specific golden buzzer choices that really defined the season's priorities. Mel B, she went for the extreme, the physical danger with the Masudi brothers.
The Masudi brothers delivered a total showstopper. I mean, high-risk knife juggling combined with advanced, shirtless acrobatics. It was pure, unadulterated spectacle.
And Mel B's reaction.
Her reaction, yelling, "You risked your lives and made it look like art." That just perfectly encapsulated the required blend of danger and polish the show was looking for.
And the sources confirmed that moment wasn't just huge in the room, it was an instant digital success.
Oh, yeah. It was instantly hailed as one of the top 5 most replayed golden buzzer moments in the show's entire history. It confirmed that the show is still willing to stake its success on physical theatrics and, imminent danger.
Especially when it's framed by a judge's genuine fear.
That's the key. It's adrenaline that clips well.
So now, contrast that with Simon's choice. Lightwire, the Brazilian light act.
Lightwire was the ultimate validation of the show's shift toward high-tech spectacle. Their whole jungle theme, with tigers and monkeys rendered in this dazzling LED choreography, was visually complex and so technically demanding.
And Simon's choice meant?
Simon's choice signaled that technological prowess and multimedia stagecraft are now essential ingredients for a global superstar act. They often outweigh raw talent categories like singing or comedy now. The golden buzzers were not random acts of enthusiasm. They were calculated claims on the types of entertainment that would define the season's commercial narrative.
Okay, so the ultimate test of this whole new blueprint arrives at the finale, a massive 2-night event. The performances were Tuesday, September 23rd, and then the results followed on Wednesday, September 24th.
And the sheer scale of the voting, I mean, America could vote up to 10 times via online platforms or mobile apps. That just shows the intense need for audience engagement data. They want to know who is clicking and how often.
Yeah, we had 10 finalists battling for that $1 million prize. But the distribution of talent, as you mentioned, was heavily skewed.
So skewed. 6 of the 10 finalists were dedicated vocal acts, singers or rappers. This confirmed that despite all the incredible variety in the auditions, the danger, the magic, the dance, the audience's ultimate highest engagement voting power, it still resides with music.
And specifically with those who can tell an emotionally overwhelming story through a song.
Precisely.
So let's start with that ultimate story, which belonged to Jessica Sanchez, the winner. She entered the competition with this, almost impossible weight of expectation. She was an American Idol Season 11 runner-up and a Season 1 AGT alumnus. She was the returning giant.
Her final performance was the culmination of a perfectly orchestrated narrative. Absolutely perfect. She performed the Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga hit Die With a Smile, which is an incredibly technically demanding song.
Right.
And that was made even more resonant by the fact that she was visibly pregnant on stage. The physical vulnerability combined with the emotional power of those lyrics. It was the ultimate full-circle, emotionally resonant moment.
The judges reacted accordingly.
Yeah.
The effusiveness was it was off the charts.
Oh, completely. Sofia Vergara just called the performance perfection. Mel B, who usually maintains that hard professional edge, she called the vocals flawless. She even noted the control and power required to sustain that level of performance while pregnant.
And Simon?
And Cowell, ever the narrator, he focused entirely on the journey. He highlighted the profound power of believing in yourself after 2 decades in the industry. It was clear her story had transcended the competition. It was about redemption and perseverance.
Following closely behind her was the runner-up, Chris Turner, the quick-witted freestyle rapper. His talent is, it's almost unbelievable, creating high-tempo, technically complex rap completely on the spot.
Turner was the embodiment of unique, raw, viral talent. His final bid required him to weave in these just disparate, bizarre suggestions. He had tampons, baby elephants, Jamaica, and Howie Mandel.
What a list.
And he had to turn that into a cohesive, high-energy rhythm. It was a technical marvel of lyrical dexterity and improvisation.
He absolutely solidified his place as a viral sensation, prize or no prize.
He did. And Howie Mandel, his champion, he was just overcome. He declared, "You just solidified yourself $1 million." Sofia Vergara affirmed she would be very happy if he won.
Mm.
Turner really represented that unpredictable, fresh, and genuinely surprising talent that audiences crave, which was a stark contrast to the polished predictability of a seasoned pro like Sanchez.
And the tension between those two, that was the real dramatic engine of the finale.
It was the whole story.
In third place, we had Jourdan Blue, the New Orleans street singer who performed Golden from the film K-pop Demon Hunters. He was another contestant who seemed to have the judges completely convinced of his victory right up until the result was announced.
Mandel was so vocal, yelling, "It's over, I believe you won." Cowell praised his song choice as very smart, and he agreed that Blue had the potential to win the whole season.
And what was his appeal?
Blue's appeal was his authentic, soulful delivery and just great song selection. He was tapping into a genre that rarely finds a voice on a national stage like this. He was the dark horse with this massive musical appeal.
Let's move to the other music acts. There was Mama Duke, Mel B's Golden Buzzer. She performed a motivational original song.
Yeah, Mama Duke brought pure, unadulterated realness, as Mel B called it. She wasn't aiming for vocal perfection. She was aiming for connection and inspiration.
Right.
Mel B pledged to be the first one to buy front row concert tickets, and she praised her ability to connect with the audience through honest, original material. Her performance really highlighted that having a unique identity is just as valuable as technical skill.
And rounding out the musician finalists was Steve Ray Ladson, Sofia Vergara's Golden Buzzer, who brought a unique blend of country rock.
Ladson performed this incredibly energetic country rock piece, and he was showcasing these really complex banjo skills. He moved off the main stage and performed on a little mini stage right in front of the judges, which injected this raw, personalized energy.
And the judges' take.
Mandel called it a winning song. Vergara declared him already a superstar. But what stood out to me was Mel B's focus on his individuality. She noted that he sticks in his lane.
Which is producer speak.
Total producer speak. It means he has a clear, marketable niche that doesn't compete with the other vocal acts.
So 6 heavily praised, emotionally resonant, and highly marketable vocal acts.
Oh.
Okay, now let's pivot to the variety acts. The necessary high-tech spectacle and danger that provides that dynamic contrast.
Right.
Circa Maria, the trapeze duo from Argentina and Chile. They were facing some criticism for being repetitive, but they really elevated the stakes for the finale.
They absolutely threw down the gauntlet. Their final act was just breathtaking. High-flying, risky moves, including hand-to-hand acrobatics, performed entirely blindfolded, suspended dozens of feet above the stage.
Wow, blindfold.
Blindfolded. They took that previous critique about being repetitive and just turned it into fuel, maximizing the perceived risk to an insane degree.
And the resulting judge reaction reflected that. I mean, Cowell's praise was extraordinary.
A standing ovation from Simon Cowell is a very rare occurrence. He called it the best, genuinely, I have ever seen, like an 11 out of 10.
An 11 out of 10.
Mel B praised the performance as seamless. Vergara called it breathtaking. Circa Maria proved that pure physical spectacle, when it's executed with high risk and flawless technique, can still dominate the conversation, even in a season defined by singers. They were the counter-argument to the musical hegemony.
Then there was Lightwire, Simon's Golden Buzzer. They were under immense pressure after suffering a technical malfunction during the semifinals. What happened then, and how did they recover in the final?
The technical malfunction in the semifinals was critical. I mean, sources indicate it was a combination of hardware and software timing issues, and it caused one of the central figures in the routine, the Piger, to lose synchronicity with the audio track for several critical seconds.
And in a highly choreographed LED light show, that's catastrophic.
It's catastrophic. They had to prove they were reliable, that they're event bookers.
So their final performance had to be absolutely pristine.
And it was. They delivered this captivating, moving story performance that went beyond just light tricks. They used the LED suits to tell a genuinely moving narrative. It achieved the necessary emotional connection, and it made Cowell quite emotional. He even said they deserved to win.
Interesting.
Yeah, and despite Mel B feeling the act was similar to last week again, maintaining that professional, standard light wire successfully demonstrated resilience and that key phrase, event adaptability.
And what about Team Recycled? Howie Mandel's massive 40-plus member dance group They brought sheer scale to the finale.
This was production on a massive scale. The 40-plus members, they utilized the entire stage, the aisles, the auditorium floor. It was this grand, coordinated routine.
That's the definition of event-level entertainment.
Exactly. Something that could open an awards show or define a major city street festival. Cowell dubbed the performance spectacular, and Mel B called the act genius, even if she, maintained her edge by noting some of the moves were recycled. They represented the large, coordinated spectacle that is inherently bookable and visually staggering.
Finally, we had the inspirational quotient, which was delivered by the Leo High School Choir, led by LaDonna Hill.
The choir was necessary to maintain the competition's heart. It really was. They performed the script's Hall of Fame, and they got the entire audience clapping along. They represented the community aspect, the grassroots talent that is essential to the show's legitimacy.
What did the judges think?
Vergara called them the coolest choir that has ever been here on AGT, which reinforces that their participation brought a necessary heartfelt energy to contrast with the high-tech, polished professionalism of all the other finalists.
Okay, so if the finale performances showed us the polished, market-ready product, the backstage drama showed us the raw engineering required to create those moments. And here is where the audience's cynicism about manufactured content really starts to creep in. Let's jump straight into that strange, very public conflict involving the rapper Micah Palace on finale night.
This was a clear example of the judges being used as narrative drivers, generating drama just when the voting windows were peaking. Micah Palace, who was Simon's golden buzzer, he had just finished this really energetic performance with both English and Spanish lyrics, and the crowd was roaring.
And then, seemingly out of nowhere, Mel B offers him a piece of advice.
And the advice was incredibly specific and pointed. It was delivered with this intense eye contact. She said, "You have to be nice to everybody, the crew, the people that dress you. If not, you're going to meet them on the way back down."
The implication was crystal clear. She was suggesting he had been difficult or disrespectful backstage, which is just incredibly dangerous feedback on live television.
It could torpedo a finalist right before the vote.
Exactly. And Simon Cowell's immediate and forceful reaction was the key moment of the night.
He immediately jumped in, asked Mel B what she meant, and then he cut off Howie Mandel mid-sentence. He just declared, "I've just got a butt in here.
Oh.
You've been really polite and sweet to everybody," so that was out of order. He was defending his investment fiercely.
It wasn't just a boss defending an employee. It was a producer protecting his golden buzzer, his chosen narrative.
Exactly. He was protecting him from a rival judge's potential character assassination. And Cowell's defense was met with this overwhelming applause. He instantly positioned Micah Palace as the victim of a slight, which secured fan sympathy right when it mattered most.
And Micah Palace's response.
He seized the moment, he shouted out his mother, and then he offered this swift general apology if anyone felt offended. He handled it perfectly.
So what was the official explanation for Mel B's comment?
The official line that was reported was that Mel B was simply passing on the best piece of career advice she ever received as a young performer. Just a generic warning about Hollywood behavior.
It feels thin.
It does, because the timing, the delivery, and the forceful nature of Cowell's rebuttal, it transformed it into high-stakes drama that just dominated the social media conversation that evening. It guaranteed shareability and engagement. It was a perfect piece of television tension, regardless of the truth.
Speaking of high stakes and high adrenaline, the show has to consistently escalate the danger acts to keep the audience engaged. And we saw a moment of genuinely terrifying judge interaction with the extreme workout duo, Darian Johnson and Scott Matheson.
This was a deliberate stunt to pull the judges into the spectacle. It generates authentic fear and highly marketable visual content. Johnson and Matheson, they're known for sharing their extreme workouts on social media, and they performed a routine that required tossing heavy barbells over the heads of Mel B and Sofia Vergara.
And they were on stage with them.
They were on stage, positioned standing back-to-back, totally exposed.
You could see the raw, visible distress from the judges. I mean, this was not manufactured acting.
Not at all. Vergara was protesting vigorously, genuinely pleading, "I don't want to be here," while Mel B, with her eyes squeezed shut in terror, was insisting that Vergara hold my hand. The sources noted Mel B's body language was intensely frantic. It was authentic anxiety, a genuine risk.
And the irony is that immediately following this terrifying life-risking stunt, they all voted yes.
The spectacle always overrides the discomfort. Mel B, despite her visible anxiety, immediately praised the contestants. She called them fit and hot, and all 4 judges advanced them. And this just reinforces the core production mandate. If the act is spectacular, high risk, and produces genuine shock, the personal distress of the judges is worth the reward. The show needs that type of genuine, visceral reaction to maintain its authenticity amid all the manufactured moments.
And those manufactured moments. That's what led to the increased audience cynicism, particularly with the return of the notorious Simon Stott phenomenon.
Ah, the classic reality TV trope. This is where Simon Cowell stops a singer mid-song, critiques their choice, and then forces them to perform a vastly superior second song, which leads to an emotional redemption arc and, usually, a standing ovation.
And critics have long noted that this moment is totally staged for maximum emotional payout.
Totally.
The audition of Charity Lockhart, who later received Sofia Vergara's Golden Buzzer, was the prime example that fueled this cynicism this season.
Yes. Charity Lockhart was singing a competent but pretty uninspiring first song, and Cal stops her. The key detail, though, that was noted by critics and astute viewers was the band's immediate readiness.
Right.
When Lockhart was told to sing a different song over the rainbow, the backing band instantly shifted to a complex arrangement for that specific tune. There was no visible consultation, no shuffling of sheet music, and the background track was instantly ready to go.
That instant transition confirms it. The band had a fully prepared backing track for the spontaneous second song. The whole second chance moment was pre-scripted for dramatic effect.
Precisely. That pre-planning confirms that the emotional arc the struggling singer redeemed by a perfect second chance was curated content. It was guaranteed to hit the feels and clip well for social media.
Yeah.
And the industry analysis is clear. While these moments generate massive engagement, relying on the Simon stop over and over again risks eroding the perceived legitimacy of the entire competition format. The audience starts to understand they're watching a highly produced movie, not a genuine talent search.
So we have the manufactured emotional moments on stage, designed to trick the audience into feeling more deeply. But then what happens when the emotional story doesn't even involve a real person? This brings us to the bizarre viral phenomenon of Ernesto.
This is truly a watershed moment for reality television. It raises a critical question about what the audience prioritizes. Do we value authenticity, or do we just value the perfect tear-jerking narrative? Ernesto was an entirely AI-generated contestant created by a YouTube account called AGT Versailles.
And the creator, clearly understanding the AGT formula perfectly, gave Ernesto the ultimate tailor-made sob story.
Oh, absolutely tailored. Ernesto was presented as a lonely carpenter who lost his wife and child, subsequently lost his house, but persevered through his profound grief with his beautiful baritone voice, singing this melancholy ballad called Still Waiting at the Door. It was engineered sadness.
And despite clear disclaimers on the video, and just obvious signs of visual fakery like fuzzy outlines around the figure, slightly jerky movements, and the anachronistic appearance of a former British host, Nick Grimshaw, as a judge, the narrative worked.
It worked beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The videos went massively viral. They amassed over 24 million views on YouTube and an additional 30 million on TikTok.
So there's 54 million combined views for a fictional contestant, a person who does not exist.
The person who does not exist. And the comment sections were flooded with genuine emotional engagement and support. You had viewers expressing deep sympathy for his completely fabricated tragedy.
This just highlights that millions of viewers prioritize the emotional payoff above ever verifying the source material. Why watch the messy, unpredictable human reality show when AI can deliver a perfectly curated, tear-inducing narrative on demand?
It's the ultimate conceptual threat to the show's authenticity. I mean, if a deepfake can outperform many genuine acts in terms of raw emotional engagement metrics, it confirms that the audience is now emotionally engaging primarily with the story structure, the triumph over tragedy, rather than the authenticity of the talent itself. So the production team, they now have to compete not only with other shows, but with perfected synthetic narratives designed specifically to generate the feels.
And this cultural readiness to prioritize story over source, it ties directly back to the ultimate controversy of Season 20, the professional versus amateur conflict, centered entirely on the winner, Jessica Sanchez.
The uproar following her win was intense, and for many critics, it was entirely justified. Chris Turner and Jourdan Blue, representing new, raw talent, they took second and third, respectively. The central argument against Sanchez was that she was borderline professional, a seasoned veteran who should have been disqualified from a competition that is ostensibly designed for discovery.
To really understand the intensity of that criticism, we have to look closely at her resume. I mean, this wasn't someone who sang in a few church choirs.
No, she has a world-class professional pedigree. She was the runner-up on American Idol season 11. She had performed for President Obama and his family at the White House. She had shared stages with Jennifer Lopez and Jennifer Hudson.
And record deals.
Multiple record deals, including one with Interscope Records. She had multiple appearances on the television show Glee. She was headlining major concerts in the Philippines, performing at national political events. She had been performing on national and international stages for 2 decades.
So the question everyone asked was, why was she even eligible for America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
This is the point where the differences between AGT and American Idol's eligibility rules become so crucial.
This is the missing piece of the analysis. American Idol traditionally limits participation to non-professional singers, people who have not achieved a certain level of financial success or hold current major record deals. AGT, however, has significantly looser rules.
How so?
It is explicitly open to anyone, regardless of professional experience or previous success. This includes established stars looking for a career boost. This is why famous magicians, comedians, and yes, professional singers can and do compete.
So critics saw her win as structurally unfair. She brought a pre-existing massive fan base, particularly the highly engaged Filipino community globally, and her established social media following into a competition against relative unknowns.
Her victory was viewed as manufactured because the formula leveraged her fame, her established skill set, and the highly potent narrative of a world-class talent returning for redemption. And that was all compounded by the emotional element of her pregnancy.
The scale felt tilted from the very first audition.
It did. One critic summed up the sentiment perfectly, noting that the season 20 anniversary winner was ultimately an American Idol runner-up, not a true AGT discovery.
But there's a powerful counter-perspective here, one often championed by Simon Cowell himself, that justifies her return.
There is. And the counter-argument focuses on the harsh realities of the modern music industry. Cowell argued that Sanchez's need to return to a competition stage, despite all her world-class accolades, the Interscope deal that fizzled, the Glee role that ended, it underscored that even established, immensely talented artists need a massive, globally viral platform like AGT to sustain a career in 2025.
So her journey, framed that way, it wasn't about discovery. It was about the resilience required to survive a cutthroat industry.
Exactly. Cowell framed her victory as a testament to the power of self-belief. He suggested her world-class level of polish actually elevated the show's standard. The debate was never about her voice, which was flawless. It was about the integrity of the format. Her win just cemented the fact that AGT is no longer just a platform for grassroots discovery. It has fully transitioned into a second chance stage for established artists, blurring the line between amateur competition and professional career revival.
So when we put it all together, what's the crystallized insight from season 20?
It was a truly pivotal season for America's Got Talent. I think it functioned less as a competition and more as a proof of concept for modern entertainment engineering. The show actively chased viral readiness and event bookability. It leveraged high-tech spectacle like Lightwire and Circa Maria and raw viral appeal like Chris Turner and Mama Duke.
But in the end, the ultimate winning formula proved to be the power of a highly polished, strategically narrative-driven, and pre-existing storyline. Jessica Sanchez's victory confirmed that the emotionally resonant journey, combined with world-class polish, triumphs over unpredictable novelty.
Especially when the contestant comes equipped with a massive pre-existing social media engine to drive votes.
Right, and the show is now what you'd call a multi-platform engagement engine. We saw producers use the judges' dynamics, like the friction between Mel B and Simon over Micah Palace, just to create compelling drama.
And they relied on those controversial pre-scripted moments the Simon stopped to guarantee predictable emotional high points. They are optimizing for engagement and controversy, sometimes you could argue, at the expense of pure organic discovery.
And the audience, it seems, is ready for that trade-off. Which brings us back to that AI contestant. In a world where an entirely fabricated contestant like Ernesto can pull in 54 million views and generate genuine tears, just by delivering a perfectly curated tragic story, how much does the viewer truly value authenticity over a perfectly curated emotional narrative?
That is the ultimate question for the future of televised talent. We have to ask, Did Jessica Sanchez's victory elevate the show's standard by confirming that only truly world-class, battle-tested talent can withstand the pressure of the final? Or did it simply confirm that the formula is now tilted toward manufactured, predictable outcomes, where the story is always more important than the surprise? It gives you plenty to mull over the next time you cast your vote for a televised talent competition.